So here we have the epiglottis, the aryepiglottic fold, the hyoid bone, thyroid membrane, thyroid cartilage, arytenoid cartilages, and here we have the vocal folds. Back here we have the cricoid cartilage. The ones that cross over are the oblique arytenoid muscles. Underneath that is the transverse arytenoid muscle. And then here we have the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle. And then below all of that we have the trachea, and on that we have the tracheal rings.
First, we will cover respiration. During respiration, we both inhale and exhale, which is known as inspiration and expiration, using our lungs, which are housed in the thoracic cavity. During inhalation, our diaphragm contracts, which expands our thoracic cavity. Since the lungs expand to fill the empty space from our diaphragm contracting, the pressure in our lungs goes away. To stabilize the pressure drop, we take in our surrounding air that rushes in through our oral cavity and into our lungs. This process is known as Boyle's Law. During exhalation, while we hold the new air in our lungs, our body temperature begins to heat it up, causing our lungs to expand even more. This is known as Charles' Law. The pressure then switches, making our lung pressure greater than the surrounding thoracic cavity pressure. To equalize the pressure again, exhalation again occurs to rid our lungs of the extra air, which is Boyle's Law again. This repeats. There are two types of breathing, which are known as speech breathing and tidal breathing. Tidal breathing is our passive breathing for life, which we hardly notice. Speech breathing is more conscious since we're controlling our loudness and pitch. Tidal breathing is a lot different from speech breathing in that tidal breathing is a cycle of roughly 40% inhalation and 60% exhalation, and the exhalation is passive, meaning no muscles are activated to do it. However, when we're speech breathing, the cycle is a big difference, calling roughly 10% inhalation and 90% exhalation because we are using those muscles actively.
Now we are going to talk about the phonation phase. It's important to note that the vocal folds are attached to the thyroid cartilage and the arytenoid cartilages, and that the following muscles are active during phonation: the cricothyroid muscle, the posterior cricoarytenoid muscles, the lateral cricoarytenoid muscles, and the interarytenoid muscles. The vibratory cycle of the vocal folds is driven by aerodynamic phenomena. Driving air pressure from the lungs controls the opening of the folds, and the Bernoulli effect controls the closing phase. When we begin the process of phonation, our vocal folds begin to rapidly vibrate and move together, adduct and apart, abduct. The pressure buildup begins to open the bottom. The vibration then forms the mucosal wave, which travels from the bottom to the top of the vocal folds. Each vibration allows a brief puff of air to escape, producing an audible sound at the frequency of the opening. This process is called voicing. Changes that may affect the mucosal wave are stiffness of the vocal fold layers, weakness or failure of closure, imbalance between the right and left vocal folds from a lesion on either of the vocal folds. This may cause vocal problems.
The voice sound that results from the air passing through the abducting and adducting vocal folds is just sound. We need resonance to turn it on into our own unique voice. We have to amplify and change the bass sound using our vocal tract resonators. This is then modified by our personal loudness and pitch. Loudness occurs with an increase in airflow that blows the vocal folds wider apart. The vocal folds stay apart longer during a vibratory cycle, which increases the amplitude of the sound pressure. An increase in the frequency of vocal fold vibration means a raise in pitch. The nose, pharynx, and mouth amplify and modify sound, allowing it to take the qualities of the voice. The way voice is produced can relate to the sound produced by a trombone. The person playing the trombone produces a sound with the mouthpiece, with her lips vibrating from air that passes through the mouth. The vibration from the mouthpiece produces sound. This is like the vocal folds vibrating. The sound is then shaped as it moves throughout the instrument. As you slide the trombone, the sound of the instrument is changed. This relates to the increased tension and relaxation of the vocal folds.
The air from the hairdryer is representative of the exhalation from the lungs. The air passing through the glottis causes the vocal folds to vibrate, resulting in phonation. From this point, our vocal tract assists with pitch and loudness to create resonance.